My name is Arturo Giammugnani, and I'm the president of Argent Homes.
Hi Art, welcome back to Let's Talk Modern Homes. We are episode number 4. You excited to be here today?
Yes, I am. How are
Great,
you?
I'm
Good.
doing amazing. Yeah, thank you for asking.
What are we going to talk about?
Well, today we're gonna be talking about building a modern home and building it on a lot that you have or a lot that you can work with a builder that can purchase it for you and build it. Well,
So
before we get into that,
building on your lap.
correct, yeah. But let me just talk about the podcast for a second. So this podcast is every Thursday at 2 p.m. and it's gonna be broadcasted on it's gonna be live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, YouTube is gonna be published on YouTube, and then also is gonna be on Spotify. And this podcast is sponsored by Argent Homes. Well, welcome Art, and thank you for being here. Um, So obviously you've been in this business for a while now, and you built multiple houses over the years. What do you think is going to be the 5 major benefits for building a luxury homes for people?
Well, some people contact, they do their own research.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot. Most of them, before modern became popular in Tampa, they wanted to build a modern home, but they didn't have builders that actually were building modern homes.
Correct.
That's what I hear a lot from uh, owners, builder owners, lot owners. So now they have this lot, and their dream is to build a modern home. Obviously, they don't have any idea how to start, how to get into the building process, and how to actually end up with a modern home. So I can say that most of the buyers, most of the homeowners, most of the lot owners, they would like to change their lifestyle by having a modern home. They appreciate the architecture. They are fanatics about modern.
Mm-hmm.
And now in Tampa, in the surrounding areas, now they have a source, a builder source that actually can make their dreams come true.
Good. Well, let me ask you a question. So let's say I have a piece of land and it's in Tampa, and I come to you and I'm like, all right, I want you to build a modern house for me. How do we start? What's the process? How do we start talking about it? I know you mentioned lifestyle. How does a lifestyle connect with the house?
Well, unlike any other builder in town that have their plans already made and their models with names and stuff like that, and somebody go to them
And select a model.
and select the model.
Correct.
We don't do that. As a matter of fact, we don't replicate houses twice. So if somebody comes to us, I like to have a meeting with them. I like to know what they want.
Yeah.
Uh, Being said that, they have their wishes. They have in their mind their must-haves in the house and the likes. And once we start talking to them and knowing not only square footage, we want to know who's going to live in the house. It's much different if you got one individual, single person, than to have just a couple or to have a family with kids.
Correct.
Their wishes are different. Their must-haves are different. And also the level of luxury they want to put in the house. So we have a first meeting, and we're trying to get to know each other.
A discovery meeting, basically.
It is a discovery
Yeah,
meeting.
discovery meeting, getting to know each other, looking at what they have, looking at what they want. They starting a family soon, look at bedrooms, look at stairs,
We need to know all that.
look at
We need to
yeah,
know all that.
correct.
It
becomes very personal to a certain level.
exactly.
You get very personal with anybody that's trying to build a house because you basically need to know about everything of their daily
There are
life.
hobbies, for instance. Oh, I like to. I'm a writer. I like to write. Well, you need an office,
Yeah.
a specific office just for you.
Yeah.
Or I do a lot of I like to have a gym. Well, or I'm a cigar aficionado.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can get a cigar room for you. Yes, the discovery is the way to know and meet each other. We're going to ask questions about us.
Correct.
What do we do? What have we done? And we can show the stuff that we built, but also know about them before we can even give them a price per square feet. This is not about prices per square feet. This is about
Correct.
lifestyles.
Yeah.
Some people say, well, how much is your square
Build.
feet?
Yeah.
Because X lender and another lender, they tell me that their price is this. Well, they might say that because you're building
Correct.
their
It's
plans.
difficult when you have um brand new plan because we're making a custom plan basically for every single home. So every home is different. Every home is gonna be at a different price. Obviously, if the house is on the water, it's different price than because obviously for foundation purposes, different than if it's inland. If it's a three-story house versus a one-story house. So obviously everything is completely different.
Correct. We're
Yeah.
going to be designing. We're going to be in charge or having
Dream home.
your dream home in
Yeah.
your hands when it's done, with everything that you wanted, and fulfill all your dreams.
Yeah. Now there's obviously different locations, right? So there's people that have land and they come to us and they want us to build on their lot. There's other clients that come here and they don't even have a land and they ask us if we have a land or if we can help them buy a land and build on it. And obviously we do a lot of research into the land. One is obviously location. Number two, if it's buildable, which we do a lot of inspections to make
A
sure it's
lot of due
buildable, a
diligence.
lot of due
Yeah.
diligence in between geotechnical studies, between surveying, municipalities, zoning,
Three.
height, trees. There's a lot that goes in it, utilities.
In soil, basically, too.
Yeah, yeah. And our process is more in depth. Um, Before we even get to the architectural part of planning. And then we obviously start with the architect as far as designing, and from there, and everything is that we do is very unique. So it's one of one. We don't repeat the same model like you were saying. So
Mhm.
whenever we design a house for a client, it doesn't ever get repeated, which is really cool, and it's a unique piece of art.
And we need to know if they have a piece of land and they want a 9,000 square feet home, one story. We need to make sure that home fits the land.
Correct.
We need to know if whatever you're going to build there, it will look good. Like if you have 10 acres of land and you want a 2,000 square feet home, well, it's not going to look
Yeah,
good to have a tiny
it's
home
gonna
and
be proportionate with the
yeah,
land,
yeah.
and I think we do a good job with the proportion of the house versus the land
Mhm.
versus the orientation of the house. If you got a lake, obviously where the sun rises and where the sun sets.
We get to the point to ask the owner, if you wake up in the morning, do you want to see the sun
Yeah,
or you prefer to see the sun on the sunset?
correct.
So we based on that, we can actually design a home where
The
the
bedroom
the
isn't a
bedroom, if you want to see the sun, then the bedroom needs to be facing the sunrise. Or
correct
if you prefer to see the sun
setting.
setting, then you're gonna have your family room or your uh, your activities in the evening facing that sunset. So
Correct.
it takes a lot of talking, a lot of conversations
And,
to
and
find out what they really want.
it's a lot of times how I see is like when people come here, it's for them it's something that they never thought about. Like we ask questions and they'll be like, "Oh, I never thought about that. I never thought about that. I never thought about that." Which is good that we're bringing to them questions that they should know about at this point before they commit to building their house. I think all these questions should be asked at the beginning. Everything should be clear, all their expectations, and then it's also educational for the buyers when they come here.
Mhm.
We do an educational part by asking questions and then answering
And we give them
questions.
ideas.
And we give them ideas.
For instance, the cigar aficionado, like I
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, I mean, they never probably think about having a cigar room in their house,
Yeah.
but we can build a cigar room along with the wine cooler. It might be two-story wine cooler. It depends on what you really have in your mind as far as having the possibility of having in your own home.
Yeah. And it depends because some people they like going to the cigar lounge, right? But they never thought about having a cigar room in their own house,
Exactly.
right? There's always something that you see at a hotel or a restaurant. You're like, that's really cool. I kind of want this at my house. But they think it's just a commercial space, that it's just in a restaurant or just in a, at a hotel, and they don't think they can bring it to their house. And it's, no, it's actually really cool to have bringing different material and different ideas from different parts of the world. If you travel to Italy or you travel to South America and you see something that you like and we're like, okay, I really like this and I want to implement it in my house, and we can do that.
And I have cases that I can mention. People coming to me and says, "Listen, I travel a lot, and I go to very luxury hotels, and I see their bathrooms, and I always think, oh my goodness, I mean, I wish I can have this type of setup in my own house." Well, now you can,
Yeah.
because we can actually adapt our building based on your wants and your wishes. You tell me
Correct.
what you want. You want jets. You want rain showers. What is it that you want on your bathroom? We can make it happen because we understand modern, and we can actually build it the same way that famous hotel has it,
Yeah.
with perhaps more technology than they do because they already built it and they're not going to change
Correct.
it.
Yeah.
But we can adapt with technology as well.
Yeah, we can adapt very fast. I mean, the decision is very quickly um done on the spot. There's no need to go to corporate and ask for anything. It
Mhm.
just, hey, we saw something that we really like and we're gonna start implementing it. Obviously, we do a lot of due diligence as far as the product, the Florida approvals, and different things of that nature that we need to make sure it's a good product. But at the end of the day, we can use any products that we really like and
And
we
bring it
really
from
say
overseas if it has to.
correct.
I mean, we have good companies overseas that manufacture products in accessories in
Yeah,
that for modern homes, because modern home is very alive in Europe, is very alive in South America. I can tell you for experience, that our doors they're coming from South America, and our impact windows they come from South America as well.
yeah, we got these huge pivot doors. It's like you can get a 6 or 7 feet in width and 23 feet in height
We got
and
20
23 feet.
feet,
That is
23 feet
huge.
pivot door that will
Correct.
take, it will be
Yeah.
a wow effect on the house. It can be done. It can be done.
And
Um,
then the lifestyle also, we got people that have car collectors, right? They want 6, 7 car garages. They want separate garage. They want, so we really need to understand the lifestyle of the family of the person that's living there. If they want a playground for their kids in the back, if they want a swimming pool that is for made for adults that has a lap pool versus more kid friendly, and it really having a conversation and building the relationship with the client and understanding everything that they want for them and their family, and we become really good friends at the end of the day.
yeah, we
Yeah.
sometimes we cook for them at the first day they
Yeah.
open they go in their houses.
Now, locations in Tampa and the Tampa Bay area, obviously, sometimes you're limited when it becomes to South Tampa, right? You got lots that are 50 by 100 versus when you go to some place like Tonasasa or Odessa where you have like 2 acres of land, we get a little bit more flexible with design. And I think for me at least, I like to being outside of the city a little bit for design purposes because we can get a lot more creative with the design of the house versus having small building envelope.
Yeah, it is true. The city lots are very tight. There's not too many available, and sometimes you need to work miracles in order to put everything that the client is. Because remember, uh, the client that comes to us, they know that, but they want to live in the city. They want to live near the restaurants, the hospitals, the
Yeah.
universities, downtown, for whatever reason, the airport. Okay, now they need to find a lot in that vicinity, but now it's up to us to make that dream come true.
Correct.
And the way we do it is obviously we build up,
Yeah.
and we build entertainment on the rooftop terrace,
Yeah.
and we build the pool. And obviously, we try to put the pool there, even if the lot is tight. We have done that. The house is not maybe as big as they wanted to have, but we can actually put a 4,500 square feet heated home on a 50 by 100 lot with a pool
Yeah.
and a rooftop terrace.
That's another thing, which and also you can be testing your creativity on a small lot, and challenging the construction team and the engineering and everything like that. Because we can also put a pool on the rooftop if we really wanted to.
Correct.
So, because we can build structure with all concrete, we're not stuck with only with trusses or with frame structures. We can build with block, concrete, cast in place, and we're not limited. So we have the option of really getting creative if the budget allows
And
for
that's
it.
the building of the future.
Yeah,
That's the building of the future, especially with hurricanes. When you have it cast in place, you got, concrete roof.
yeah,
Hey, hurricane not going to take that. You're safe. You're 100% safe
yeah,
versus having, wood trusses
yeah,
and or shingle, roof. Eh, eh, That's the building of the future. Also, having an elevated home for
flooding.
flooding. We all know. Look what happened in the last hurricane. Or look the potential that we can have in any hurricane that comes
Yeah,
to this area. The flooding is a potential problem.
correct.
In low areas, you're going to get flooded. Your insurance is going to go higher. So we advise buyers, lot owners, you need to raise up. You need to build up.
Yeah,
Okay. And then your flood insurance, if you have to pay it, is going to be low, but your security is in place. Your house is not going to get flooded.
that's another thing that I always like in the city of Tampa, for example. You cannot raise the garage over the street by a lot, which I understand because the driveway you cannot have it a steep driveway either.
Correct.
However, if you have your garage at a lower level, it might flood. So I'll highly suggest putting car lift just in case a hurricane comes in and there's flooding. You can just lift up your
Correct.
cars up 3 4
Exactly.
feet off the ground and keep them safe as well because cars are not cheap either.
Exactly.
Now selecting a home builder. How do somebody that comes select a home builder? For example, somebody's moving to Tampa. They don't know any builders in town. They don't know how to do the right due diligence. What do you look for if you're not obviously building you wouldn't build your own house? Like let's say you're going to a builder in Tampa. What are you looking for?
Well, the big misconception between buyers and homeowners, what has been done in this town for many years, is like, let's select a few builders and let's ask how much is the price per square feet. That's normal.
Well, see, I would like to define what a difference between a builder and a contractor than before this conversation. Because when people have their set of architectural drawings and they're just going shopping around with different contractors, like, hey, can you build me this? And then they will do a takeoff based on the architectural drawings and they'll be like, oh, yeah, this is how much it costs. But they're really just contractors. So if I go to them with a modern home, you go to them with a Spanish villa, they don't care. They just want to build a house or take a project on, basically.
But also, they have to take in consideration that whoever is a contractor needs to know about, if you build modern, you need to know about how to build modern. Anybody, any contractor can build a home. Not everybody can build a modern home.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. There's a difference between a contractor and a builder, right? Obviously, on paper, we're contractors. We're general contractors, right? And however, there is a difference between a builder that has the passion of building homes, that understand the science behind building homes. Because yeah, you can build a home, you can build a house, but doesn't mean you're building it correctly. It doesn't mean that you're using the right material to build it. Because there's a lot of contractors that will cut corners.
Hmm.
And so how do people avoid that and go to the right builder?
Well, one way to avoid it is if you got the plans, you just need somebody to build it.
Correct.
So you are at their mercy if they're going to cut corners, or you need to have some sort of inspection on your own that makes sure that the contractor builds the house that you have in paper correctly. Now, we don't do that. I don't take anybody's plans
Correct.
for the simple reason that I don't know who actually draw those plans, and I don't want to face problems in the construction process because the plans are wrong. Yeah, having a set of plans doesn't mean anything. Now, being said that, if you want to have the quality of life that the modern home will give you with a lot of luxury, we will design that for you. Now, that's a different story. We know what we design, and you can check the reputation of our company. You can check the reputation of everybody, okay? But as far as modern is concerned, then you will understand that what we put in paper is something that you're definitely going to get 100% of it. We go to interior designers, architects, engineers, landscape architects, structural engineers, um, drafters.
And that's what I think it's very important for people to understand. It's also sometimes they go to a drafter to draw a house for them, or they go to the cheapest architect at whatever cost it is, and they think they saved a good amount of money on the plans, and they got what they want. It's different when you're building a luxury modern house, when you're working with a designer, an architect, an interior designer, a structural engineer, an MEP engineer, hardscape architect. So you got multiple people that are involved, and we haven't even started building the house, right? So it's all at the stage of planning. You got so many people working together, trying to make the project be as seamless as possible and as beautiful as it can be, and functional as well.
And again, for some people, they're looking at also timing, the preparation, the get to know, the the this in sync between the owner and the builder in trying to develop those plans and make sure that the plans are obviously getting approved and meets their demands. It's not simple.
That's
It
an,
takes time.
it does take time, and that's another thing that when you bring a plan to a builder, sometimes the architect have selected materials that either doesn't fit or is not available or readily available, right? So there's different type of trusses that we can do. You can do metal trusses, we can do concrete joists, we can do wood trusses, right? But then it's also depending on if it needs to be pre-engineered. If it doesn't need to be pre-engineered, what are we doing with all that? And sometimes architect will put a span and be like, all right, well, the builder will figure it out. And then all of a sudden, when you come to actually like try to build it and be like, hey, I need to order the trusses, well, there's no manufacturer that can get to the span of trusses, and then you need to go back to the drawing.
You're
So
spending more
that's
money. You're spending more money.
you spending more money, but also if you go directly to the builder that is going to design it, knowing what the material that needs to be used, knowing what's available in Tampa, because you can get an architect in Iowa for all that matters and come here and be like, hey, I want you to build this house. It doesn't mean we're on the same page.
Correct. And on top of it, let's talk about the trusses in the concrete and the pour that we have on the roof. Not everybody's used about having that done in Tampa. Not every architect, even though that yeah they have a diploma, they're architects, but not every architect specializes
Correct.
or have the in-depth knowledge of modern like our people do. We don't build anything else but modern. So we can say with an emphasis, if you're looking for somebody that has the experience and the knowledge and only specializes in modern, if you're gonna have a heart transplant,
You go to
you
the
want to
best
know
heart
you want to go to the
surgeon.
doctor that specializes in heart transplant, not somebody that is trying to
General surgeon.
a general surgeon that maybe once in a while he does a heart transplant.
Yeah.
Well, I will not risk it,
Yeah.
especially if it's your house,
Yeah.
especially if you got dreams, especially if that is the house of your dreams, you're not going to ever move. And the reason that I said he can never ever move is because also one of the things that we noticed in a lot of years ago when we started is the fact that people like it, and we have owner suite in the second story, and they say, "Oh my goodness, what do I do when I get old?" So we made a decision that every house that we build, we got an elevator. Because if that is the house of your dreams, and you might think that elevator, oh, I don't need an elevator, I will say, yes, you do,
Yeah.
because I want you to stay in that house for whatever reason. It's just not necessary to be old, but whatever reason it happens, you have an elevator is something that more
Yeah,
than
I think it's a
necessity than a luxury.
necessary. Yeah, I think it doesn't, sometimes accident happen. You're playing football and you fracture your ankle. Yeah, it's
And
easier
then
to
what?
go through an elevator than
Exactly.
a stairs. What I would say is definitely to locate a builder is talk to, um, obviously look at Google reviews, take references from the National Builder Association,
The Better Business Bureau.
yeah, Better Business Bureau, but understand, do your own due diligence and understand the building, how to build a house in a sense, a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit, so you know what to ask the right questions.
And the risks of meeting the wrong builder surpass the savings that you can have financially.
Absolutely.
Because you can say, and this is common in any human being, how much is your price per square feet? And a builder can say, well, my square footage is 400. And you come to us, and we can say, based on what you need, is 500. So you say, oh, I'm going to go to the 400 because it's cheaper. Well, yeah, now it's cheaper, but what you're getting for 400,
Yeah.
it might not be the same, because at the end of the day, our price includes everything. There's no upgrades that you are going to do, because we know, okay, you want all of the electrical fixtures, we show you, you choose them. So when you go into your house, the only thing you need is the furniture. And even though sometimes we can find furniture that will fit that modern architecture and
Correct.
look that it fits in that house, you can order with 6 months in advance before the house is done. They get your furniture too. So the other builder that quotes you $400, for instance,
Yeah, there's sometimes a lot of times change orders.
change order,
There's these
and
change orders cost a ton of
and
money.
at the end of the day, how much do the budget, and
You'll
at the
be
end of
at
the day,
700 square
yeah,
foot.
I know. So the advice is, do not go based on just price. If you're going to build the house of your dreams, if you're going to build a house to resell it, be my guest. But if it is for your family and for a long time, think twice before you get connected to a builder. Make sure that that is the right builder,
Yeah.
and make sure that the builder has experience to build what you want with the luxury that you want, and make sure that doesn't, at the end of the day, you don't have to pay more because, oh, this is not included and this is not included. We
Yeah.
include everything in our build.
Now, an overview of the design process. So obviously, somebody makes an appointment in here. We meet with them, do the discovery meeting, and get to know them. And let's say, um, we have a lot that they like and they want to build a house on. We can do either if we have the plans already done, or let's say we just bought the lot and we don't have plans yet. We can customize that to their wants and based on the discovery. So in our process, it will be putting a reservation on the lot, and then we'll start talking with the architect and working with the architect into doing the floor plans, elevation, and we'll stop right there. Have a meeting with the clients and make sure the floor plan and the elevation is to their liking. And if there's any red lines, we do it in that meeting, and then we get back to moving forward after a sign off. Which we make it, I think, is very simple for us. It's like, hey, we do the discovery meeting, know what you want, we take it, we work with the architects and the designers, floor plan, elevation, and then red lines. But the red lines are really not that much when we have clients. We nail it as far as what they want
Well, you need
from
to
the beginning.
separate two different things. If they come and they want one of our lots that we're going to build, normally we have already an idea of what is going to be built there.
Correct.
So at that stage, if we have not started the process, we can make some changes based on what we thought we're going to do, based on the client's needs, because we have not done it. We have not started it.
Correct.
If we have started it, we have plans, then we might be able to tweak it before permitting. If you like what we have planned for that house, we can add one thing or there and change some things. Okay. If you come and we already have permits,
Yeah, it's not changing.
that's
I'll say
how
that.
it is.
Yeah.
When you come and you have your lot, then that is when the big processes start, because you need to make decisions. We will design it based on your wishes, on your dreams, on your must-haves, and we will give you the choice, couple of choices after we start designing it to make changes. At the end of the day, you're going to have plans based on what you told us you want,
Correct.
way before we start building it. And that process, folks, takes about at least 6 months.
Yeah.
Going back and forth and getting permits and getting exactly the set of plans that we are going to use to build it takes time,
Yeah.
takes money, and takes patience and a lot of communication, because we don't want to have any hiccups
Yeah.
during construction. Construction should be construction.
Yeah. The minute that we start construction, we shouldn't be going back and forth. Should be already everything in the plan. Everything has been selected. Everything has been talked with the client, and we have a bunch of sign-offs from the clients as far as appliances, fixtures. Now, obviously, things happen. Some items get discontinued, and we need to reselect it. Um, but it's minor.
It will be in the
Yeah.
same level
Yeah.
that it was originally designed.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, one thing that also we need to have in place are finances.
Correct.
So whoever is coming and they want us to build their home, we can actually advise, because we know a lot of banks that they do construction to perm loans. Maybe they come already with a loan or whatnot, but their finances need to be in place in order for us to start.
Yeah, and even the construction to perm loan, different banks have structured it differently. And there's good banks and there's banks that are really not helpful in the builder process.
Mm-hmm.
When they do construction draws, they sometimes really hurt the client because they delay things. They don't do deposits on windows or something like that. So then the client gonna have to come up with cash, because windows is one of the long lead um, time. It takes 5 months, 6 months to get windows. And if the bank is not willing to give them money to put a deposit on the windows, then they need to come up with cash. So you need to be careful with selecting the bank. Just, having a pre-approval, or I got approved with X bank, you need to have a good bank that is really good with construction, that understand the construction, that has been doing construction perm loans.
It's builder friendly too.
Builder friendly.
For instance, you're talking about windows. Okay, let's take this as an example. We get to the stage that we need to order the windows. The window package is 200,000, for instance, right? We need to put a
50% deposit.
$100,000 deposit. Great. in order for the manufacturer to actually start building those windows, because those windows are going to be made based on your house,
Custom, yeah.
custom. So the bank says, well, we're not going to draw until the windows are installed. Great. The builder is not going to put the money up front. So that comes from the buyer saying, okay, we need $100,000 deposit. And then we need, when the windows are done, we need another $100,000 on the window.
Correct.
And then we need to pay the installers. So I'm going to get that money when everything is installed. Well, no, folks, not necessarily every bank works that way. We know banks, we have worked with banks that if it's a deposit, as long as we show them that it's paid, they will reimburse. Okay? Which is good because you may be out of pocket for a couple of days. Once it's done, the bank will reimburse you automatically. You don't need to wait until the 6 months until the windows are done and another month the installation. So you need to be your own bank plus your bank. No. There are banks that understand the deposits, they understand the process, and they are builder friendly because they know what the builder needs, and they conduct their own inspections as well. So everybody's protected.
Correct.
But you don't want a bank that is not builder friendly, and you don't have to come out with all these deposits up front, and then you wonder, why do I have a loan if I have to put the money up front?
Correct. Yeah.
That's one thing to evaluate. We can help you, guide you into selecting a few banks that are builder friendly, and obviously everybody now have kind of the same interest rate. So it's not about somebody who will be more expensive than others. But what you need to do is have a bank that works with you and your builder.
Yeah. And I think building on your lot with a perm, like construction to perm loan, is really cool thing. And a lot of people don't even know that's an option. When you only paying interest at the beginning until your house is completed.
You're paying based on the money that you're drawing.
Yeah.
So if the first stage, if we build a slab and it's $100,000, and the bank pay the builder $100,000, well, you're paying interest on $100,000, not on the total amount. It might be maybe $1,000,000, right? No, you don't pay interest on $1,000,000. You're paying interest on the money that the bank is actually using at that stage.
Correct. So only on 100 grand, which is really cool.
Until the next step.
Until the next step.
And then it keeps adding, obviously. At the end, then you get $1,000,000, invested in the house. You can convert that loan into a permanent 30-year mortgage, and you're done.
Another thing is obviously permitting. So permitting has been challenging in the Tampa Bay area between city of St. Pete, city of Tampa, Jose County. We use private provider, which is an engineering firm basically that will check the plans, make sure they're in compliance with code, and the engineering firm will actually sign off on the plans. They still need to be submitted to the city, but the city doesn't need to review for code compliance. So in that aspect, we gain a little bit of time from having the city reviewing it. They usually will disapprove it for some reason, and then you have to wait another 30 days. So private providers are really helpful, and they also can do the inspections. And the difference between a private provider versus the city inspector is an inspector, qualified inspector. Private providers are usually engineers, structural engineers, which I like that as well because they have different set of skills and knowledge as well. And they're more flexible with us as far as timing. So if we need to call inspection at certain times, they're more flexible with us, especially with building these massive houses that are modern, and we have different concrete pours and different things, and we have to stage the build differently.
Steel work as well.
Yeah, and steel work.
Not very common when you build a traditional home in Tampa.
Yeah, usually you don't have, in a traditional home, you don't have any steel, but the houses that we build have a lot of steel in them. They work with us, and they're very helpful. I really like.
I think that's the way. That's the way to go. Even if you don't build large homes and you build with another builder, you need to request that they use a private provider instead of taking the plans to the city, the office where they have hundreds upon hundreds of permits that they do every day.
And
Um,
the city try their best. I mean, they are very hardworking and they do a lot of work. And when you call them, they're very helpful. But at the same time, there's things that the private provider can gives you more attention and more expedited
mhm.
service. Obviously, they have a fee for expedited service as well, but you know,
Yeah,
money and speed is always something.
yeah.
Um, but it's a really good way of doing the permitting. Foundation, we got talking topic about foundation. Obviously, foundations are different between building on the water versus building inland. But let's talk about building inland because that's the most um, buildable lots in here. Building inland, you also have multiple ways of doing the foundation. You can do a crawl space, you can do monolithic slab, which is slab on grade, it's not raised, or you can do stem wall, and that's the way we like to build our foundations. That's the way we ask the engineers to design the foundation with is um, stem walls. Stem wall is basically we dig a footer, then we build a wall on top of the footer, and we can elevate the house as much as we need. So, like Art was talking earlier about flooding, we can elevate the house with a stem wall a lot easier than any other method. And in my opinion, is the best way of doing a foundation.
Mhm.
And then
Strong. Yeah.
it's very strong. It's fully grouted block walls, and it's full of steel as well. And yeah, we backfill it and then pour the slop on top of it, which I think is the best way of doing it.
Mhm. And also the thing is, depending on the area, depends on the elevation. We want to make sure that it's enough elevated to be safe in any normal flooding situation, which is important. Um, your neighbors might not like it that they are at grade level,
Well,
and
that's
and you are at
5 feet above.
5 feet above. But
I think that's something that Tampanians are learning to get over is if their house was built in 1950 or 1960 or even the 70s or the 80s and is very low, they understand that the new code for building, you need to go elevated, you need to go higher than the flood level. And yeah, sometimes you're 5 feet above your neighbor's house. Um, but I also think these houses are going to get demolished at some point and rebuilt. And I think we're seeing a lot of that
yeah,
since, honestly, since 10 years ago. It's been,
yeah,
houses, older houses are getting bought and demolished and newer houses being built.
yeah.
What is your favorite feature in a modern house? What is like one thing that you couldn't, if you're building a house, you wouldn't go without? From let me put it in two ways. One would be from structural like structural point, and one from beautification aspect. So is it like the windows? Is it the concrete walls and concrete roof, or what is it?
So many things. It's not just one item. Uh, to make a home modern, you have multiple things that you cannot live without. From the front pivot door, which is a typical sign of a modern architecture. Because in a traditional home, a pivot door would not look good, but it looks great
In a modern one,
on a two-story foyer to put a 20-foot pivot door. It looks impressive.
yeah.
That is one item that, whenever I got the chance, I would not hesitate to install. Impact windows, floor to ceiling, commercial graded. A modern home without big windows ain't not a modern home.
Yeah.
I have seen colleagues building modern homes and using small windows, and they call it modern for whatever reason. But obviously, for the people that know modern, that's not modern. Modern is big windows, bringing Mother Nature into your home.
Yeah.
Another thing is a flat roof. You cannot call a home a modern if it doesn't have a flat roof. Well, some builders they don't. They
No,
have a roof with a pitch,
yeah.
and still call it modern.
No, there's obviously budget plays a big role in building a house, right? So we know concrete roofs cost a lot more than just wood trusses, right? That with a pitched roof. What's also you get what you pay for, right?
Well, that's the disadvantage of a modern home is it's not cheap
Yeah.
uh, by any means.
Even if it's the same square footage as a traditional, it costs a lot more per square foot. Let's say you give the exact amount of bedrooms, exact amount of kitchen space, car garage,
Cabinetry, kitchen
cabinetry.
cabinets are
Yeah,
different, are more expensive.
it,
Countertops are more expensive.
it's a
Floors are more
lot more
expensive.
expensive, and the labor is a lot more
ACs are
intricate.
different.
Yeah,
Exactly. Linear AC
yeah,
um, is different versus the traditional.
yeah. Because with a pitch roof, you have so much room in the attic for duct work and whatever you can do. And in a modern home, it's completely a different ballgame.
Correct. Having a rooftop terrace. You don't see
Yeah,
that in a traditional home. There's no
yeah.
roof for a rooftop terrace.
Even the lines in the kitchen, like traditional homes use a lot of fillers. And, oh yeah, it's crooked. Put a crown molding or whatever if it's not level. In a modern
The
homes, you
finish
have
inside, the finish
clean
inside,
lines.
the level 5
Yeah,
finish inside that you don't find in traditional homes. That's
yeah,
perfection.
yeah,
You want a modern home. People that would like to have a modern home in their lives, they know because they have done their homework. They know that it's not the same as building a traditional home.
yeah,
They know it's going to cost more. Now is the question about the level of luxury they want in the house.
yeah,
They know the house comes with elevators. They know that you can add items in the house like offices or gyms, saunas in the house,
yeah.
and that's normal. That's part of a modern home, open space. Hmm? So I don't have one item that I must have. I think that to make it a modern home, there is a combination of a lot of
A
items.
lot of items. Um, how long does it take to build them one? And I'll actually answer that question. It really depends. Obviously, it depends on the size of the house. It depends if you're calculating design and permitting in that timeline, or are you talking about just the build time itself from actually getting the permit and digging the footer to finish? I think that has a lot to do with going back to the bank and the bank that you use. If you're putting the deposit in time, if you're delaying deposits, that can be a burden on the builder as far as when you don't put a deposit on the windows for 2 months and you're late on the deposit. Um, it delays everything. You know, so already if everybody in the team, as far as the family that is buying the house and the builder and the bank work together as a team, you can build um, a big modern home 15 months,
Mhm.
16 months, but everybody needs to do their part from the family that is buying it to the bank to the builder. Good builder knows the items that are taking a long lead time and they put deposits on it right away, but also the owner and the bank needs to put the funding together because you cannot order windows without funds, obviously. Um,
But also delivery time plays a major role.
correct.
Distribution, availability.
Yeah,
Windows sometimes can take 3-4 months in order to get
correct.
delivered, and then the installation.
Correct.
A tile depends on what tile is selected. It comes from Italy. Sometimes it takes
Yeah,
time.
that's another thing. So obviously, nothing in the world is perfect, right? So yeah, even if you get a shipment of windows, maybe one windows or two windows are broken in shipping for some reason, or an accident happens on site, right? I'm not saying accidents don't happen on site. Um, so reordering that one window takes time as well, and Yeah, so it really depends, but I think an average of a big, like an 8,000, 7,000 square foot home, modern house without the design is about 16 months.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. Um, and what happens after? So we build a house, client super happy, they move in. What's after that? Obviously, they need to do maintenance. What kind of maintenance do they need to do? Um, they get adjusted with their tax bill, their electrical bill. All that stuff is going to be something new for that client on that house because obviously the tax bill was based on land. Now it's based on a house.
Hmm.
Electrical bill was not based on a house that is 7,000 square foot. So there's going to be like a 2 month, maybe 3 months adjustment period between this Tico and everybody getting their bills together.
Yeah, but obviously, I believe that the owner, when decides to build, let's say, an 8,000 square feet home, is a little bit of common sense, knowing that their electric bill, based on the level of appliances and ACs, how many ACs, the pool, and everything else, they pretty much have an idea that the electric bill is going to get a little high.
Yeah,
They're prepared. Taxes, they know that it's an 8,000 square feet home, a brand new home,
yeah,
and they know that taxes are going to be not extremely high, but it's going to be higher. Depends on what they have right now.
of course, it's gonna be higher. They understand it's gonna be
Or
higher
maybe
than the
maybe they're
land.
coming from a 20,000 square feet home into a 6,000 square feet home. Now
Yeah,
they're going to be saving
sure,
money.
correct.
But the most important part is to know, I believe, is what happened in the house in the first year. Well, um, we cannot say that we give you the house and nothing is going to happen. No, that's not true. Things are going to happen. Adjustments have to be made, because it's a brand new house. It's like a car. You drive it, and then you see things that happen, and then you take it back to the dealer for adjustments. House is the same way. The good part is anything that goes in the house that it needs attention, we are going to be there. As a matter of fact, I give every buyer my personal phone number. You don't need to call an 800 number. And God help you if you can find somebody that will take care of you.
Yeah,
You can call me on a Saturday night and tell me, Art, I got a leak in the kitchen. The faucet is leaking, it needs adjustment. I send you somebody next day if I can. Um, that's the level of relationship that we have. Since we got a relationship at the beginning, which I know what you want, well, I know that you need help. It's part of being in this new team that was created between your
correct.
family and our family. But then we offer a 210 home warranty. Everything happens in the house after the second year. You enter into a system, your problem, and then the company that we have for the home warranty will contact us and let us know what the problem is, and we needed to resolve it. Okay. Now, in another note, if 5 years down the road the sprinkler head breaks, well, it's not a builder problem. You probably run it with a lawnmower. It's up to you.
Yeah,
Now, yeah, it's up to you. But normally, I will not obviously make a big statement about this. We understand that things happen, and we will try to help. If you call us 5 years down the road and you tell me that the sprinkler head broke, I probably contact the sprinkler guys who did the work in your house and send it over there to repair it. See the damage because he already installed the system. He's the one who probably knows what's going on. We don't disappear from people's lives.
yeah.
We don't turn our head saying, "Hey, you know what? 5 years ago, this is your
It's a long
problem.
time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, call somebody else." No.
No, we always help, and even if somebody wanted to do something, they wanted to have a pull ad or something, we give them company's name or at least a contact or something, whatever they need with, you know. Or oh, we need to retouch up some paint. All right, here's the painter's phone number. Give
And
them a
we're given
call.
also the
Yeah,
colors that we buy.
correct.
Everything is being done in this book. When they know the AC, they know the information on the AC, they know the information on whatever circuit breaker is in the house. They know the paint, they know the tile code, the the Q what's it called, the scan when they scan
Oh, the code bar.
the code bar for
Yeah,
the tiles, anything that goes in the house.
SQs. Yeah,
Something happened on the kitchen cabinetry, we can contact the manufacturer because obviously we don't buy the kitchen cabinet on a store.
yeah,
These kitchen cabinets are being
custom made.
handmade
Yeah,
for you, so we know who did it. So if you need a door for whatever reason, the scratch or what, we don't disappear from people's lives
yeah,
because it's our name too,
correct.
and we want obviously the good name to be related to other people.
I agree with you. No, obviously, if we keep talking about this subject, we're gonna be here for an extra 10 hours or so.
Probably
Yeah,
we can make it another day.
another
We can make another
episode.
podcast
Yeah,
and pick up from
because
here.
we still haven't touched on a lot of points that we would
Yeah,
like to talk about in this subject. But again, well, thank you, Art, for being here today.
thank you.
This is again. I'm gonna see you next Thursday at 2. This is gonna be broadcasted on live on Facebook, on LinkedIn. It's gonna be on Spotify. And again, this is sponsored by Argent Homes.
Who is Arjun Homes?
I don't know who's Argent Homes.
It's a luxury modern home builder in Tampa Bay, and we
Good,
specialize only on modern construction.
good. All right. Well, thank you, and I'll see you next week.
See you next week. Thank you.